Hey y'all, Levi Jones, founder and head coach of Guerilla Realty, and this is going to be a quick video on how to do social media for real estate agents. Now, I want you to think about your last Facebook post for your business. It was probably about the listing you just put online that you were super excited about. Then you got one like, and let's be honest, it was probably your grandma throwing you a pity like. You got 0 comments, 0 engagement, and definitely not a single lead. What a shame. Social media is an incredibly powerful tool with a built-in audience of people who already have a connection to you, but no one even sees your posts because new listings going online aren't as interesting as political fights or cute dog videos. So instead of putting you on the content creation guide, I'm going to show you the exact repeatable process we use to make sure our listings go viral every time. Real likes, real comments, and most importantly, 32 plus real estate leads from our last post. It's how to do social media for real estate agents. And remember, Guerilla Realty is an actual real estate team operating out of North Carolina, and we've actually tested the ideas we teach, so this isn't a theory. We do a full webinar on this strategy, and you can access it for free by clicking the link in the description. It includes the upcirculating tool, the post formula, and the full step-by-step guide on how to do social media for real estate agents. First, let's talk about how most real estate agents think social media is about posting consistently. It's not. You can post every single day and still get 0 leads. The difference between a post that dies and one that spreads is engagement, and more importantly, how you engineer that engagement. Let me show you what that actually means. Let's talk a moment about how Facebook and the algorithm works. The first thing that you should know is that when you do a Facebook post, and by the way, this is true on any social media platform, it does not go out to your entire audience, all of your followers, all of your friends, etc. Instead, Facebook shows the post to a small audience. They want to test whether this is actually something interesting or not. Now, here's the reality. Your Facebook post about your listing where it just has a dry description of what the property is, maybe a couple of photographs that are boring, is probably not going to be all that interesting. And so it stops there, okay? It never gets the type of engagement that determines the expansion. Now, what is engagement? This is any interaction with your post, likes, comments, shares, etc. And Facebook basically says, hey, is this interested based on that engagement, and decides whether it wants to continue spreading it, both to your audience, friends and family, and potentially even outside of your audience if you have privacy settings unlocked, etc. Okay, so are you a victim of this? Do you have to just post boring posts? Do you have to be some sort of creative mastermind that only somehow turns real estate into this super exciting thing that can compete with the funniest TikToks or whatever? And the answer is no. What you have to do is you have to create the engagement on purpose, okay? And so the way that we're going to do that is we are going to seed the post with likes and comments from our sphere of influence. How are we going to do that? We're going to ask. Now, when we ask, this is your typical post where you have a boring description of the house. Maybe even it's an interesting house, but there's nothing interesting about the post itself. And you get maybe a share, a couple of pity likes. When you ask your sphere of influence to engage and you do it in a very intentional and targeted way, you go from this type of post, very little engagement, certainly doesn't ever go beyond the small audience, to now we're talking about 25 plus shares, a bunch of comments, likes, etc. And again, most importantly, we're going to end up turning that engagement into leads. Now, we'll go through the whole process here in just a minute, but that's ultimately the end goal with this, is not just engagement for the sake of engagement, but we want to turn that engagement into leads. All right, so instead of just talking about it, I'm going to show you exactly how to create one of these posts step by step. This is the same format we use to generate 20, 30, even 50 shares on a single listing, and I'm going to build it live so that you can copy it. All right, to show you how I'm going to ultimately create this upcirculating ad, this post, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of our Pipeline Pro Tools. Now, you don't have to have Pipeline Pro Tools in order to create this. I'm going to give you the blueprint for what a great post looks like. But we're going to start by uploading the listing inside of our system. I just put in the address, click auto import. It takes just a couple of moments to grab the property from online. It's going to download the photographs. It's going to download all the details. This is using a tool called our listing grabber. And this is so that I don't have to import it by itself. But there's basically two main keys and pieces of framework that you want to think about when you are making the viral post. Number one, we don't just put a boring description of the property. We want to create a backstory. This is where you get to use your creative juices, or if you have Pipeline Pro Tools, you don't have to. Use your creative juices. It'll actually do that for you. It uses an AI ad writing tool to actually create an image, a picture of what this house could be. Okay, we're creating a story so that it can compete with other interesting posts on Facebook. Okay, and by the way, we're just posting it to the feed here. We're not talking about Marketplace or anything like that. But you'll notice I have the listing now. And so then I go to my ad section, and I have a lot of different ways to create ads in this system. I could create classified ads, but in this case, I'm going to just create we call it an upcirculating ad. Again, AI automatically writes a great backstory about this property as a starter homestead. The homestead is something that we found lots of people are interested in. And so we just craft an idea that, hey, this could be a starter for a homestead. Okay. And so we go ahead and just generate the ad. Now, all I have to do is basically copy and paste it into a Facebook post. So I would just grab this and it automatically creates a single property website for this property. By the way, we'll talk about that in a moment, but capturing is very important. I now have the photos. I have all of the backstory, etc. And then I'm going to include 3 photos for this property. And I'll just go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to open up Facebook. I'm going to just go ahead and craft a post. Okay. And then I need photos. Okay. So I'm going to download the photos. Again, that all comes from my listing grabber. And so I just got to extract them real easy. Yes. All right. So I don't want 100 photos. I want 3 photos here. Okay. And so I typically want to include something that's going to flow along with my backstory of this homestead. So I'm going to show sort of the back area. And let's see. Yeah, that's good. Those 3 photos. And they're all attention grabbing, good photos. You notice I didn't put all 50 photos in there. Now I have a post that is going to be interesting and is going to have the potential to go viral. Plus, I've included lead capture. Again, more on that in a moment, but lead capture is very important here. Now, how do I engineer the engagement? Well, I'm going to use my upcirculating tool. Okay. So to use the upcirculating tool, we have to begin to craft our inner and outer circles. Now, you might think to yourself, what in the world does inner and outer circle have to do with this? Again, we're going to engineer the engagement. So first, let's define what your inner circle is. These are the people that if you ask them to help you move next Saturday, they would show up, that you've probably helped them move. These are your ride or dies. These are the people that are invested in, not financially, but emotionally in your business, could be financially in your business, and are cheering you on. Okay. These are people you could ask basically anything and they would do it for you. Okay. It does not have to be someone that's in your local service area, but that helps. That's better than if not. So if you're deciding, if you're trying to narrow it down to 12, and by the way, if you don't have 12 in your inner circle, this is something in your life you should work on. You should actually begin to start connecting with people and serving them so that you can develop that inner circle type relationship. Now, outer circle, these are people that you would probably stop and catch up with if you saw them at the grocery store, but you don't necessarily stay in touch all that often. And if you ask them to move, maybe they show up, maybe they're not. In other words, you're friendly with them, but they're not that second level, that intimate type of relationship. Okay. I want you to put 12 people on each list, at least 12. You can go higher than that. You can go way more than 12, but at least 12 on each list. And this is very important because this sets up the next part of what we do, which is that we want to send the quick ask. What's the quick ask? Well, we're going to ask our inner circle, hey, I'm about to share a house for sale on Facebook. Will you reshare? Again, these are the people that are in your corner. They're your ride or dies. And so we expect them to say yes. Okay. In fact, if you think about asking them this question and you're like, I'm not sure if they would say yes, that actually tells you a lot about whether they're in your inner circle or outer circle. Okay. Then with the outer circle, again, we have to add a little juice. So we say, hey, I hope you're well. Wanted to ask a quick favor. I'm about to post a house for sale and I want to maximize the number of people who see it in the first week. So I'm putting together a list of friends and family to help share it across Facebook. The way Facebook works these days, comments, likes, and shares are a huge help. Would you be willing to share it? And then we grease the wheel a little bit. I'd like to send you a Starbucks gift card as thanks. Let me know. A gift card, you probably want to go a little bit higher than $5 these days. You can't even get a drink at Starbucks for $5, but $7, $10, something like that, enough so they can get a coffee. But when we send them the quick ask, we go ahead, if they say yes, which again, if they're on those lists, we expect them to say yes, then we're going to make the exchange. So we send the gift card immediately if they're on our outer circle. If they're in our inner circle, we didn't send them a gift card, okay? And again, it doesn't have to be Starbucks. It can be a local coffee chain. The important part is you want to be able to send it digitally quickly. And you go ahead and send it right away. And you might think to yourself, but what if they don't end up liking, comment, and sharing it? I sent them a gift card for no reason. Well, first of all, again, these are your friends. So hopefully they would follow through. And here's what I would tell you. When you send them the gift, it actually activates reciprocation. Now they have to follow through. Now it's no longer at the end of their priority list. They feel obligated to go ahead and follow through, which is going to make your post go viral. Okay. And then we're going to send them a link. We're not just going to go, hey, go to my profile, find the post. We're actually going to give them a direct link and we're going to ask them to comment, like, and share. Okay. Now, when they do, they're going to effectively juice the algorithm for you and give you the engagement that's going to tell Facebook, hey, we should start to promote this, all over the place. Okay. Now, you're all of a sudden going to get a lot of attention from people who have at least some connection with you. Okay. And they're seeing this house, this listing that you just put up. We're going to turn that attention into leads. We do a full version of this training on a free webinar I've linked below. It links you to the upcirculating tool with the scripts, the text, and everything you need to implement this social media play for real estate agents. Now, here's where most agents completely drop the ball. They get attention, maybe even they go mini viral, but they don't get a single lead. Why? Because attention doesn't pay you. Conversion does. Let me show you how to actually turn that traffic into real clients. Now, having a website that actually captures leads is the key to unlocking this whole thing. And I know that sounds silly. Well, of course, my website. The reality is your website probably doesn't. Now, this is a screenshot of our website. It's the very one. It's the single property website that we use in our upcirculating post. And you'll notice it requires registration before someone logs in. In other words, or before someone gets price, full photos, information about the house, etc. Now, this isn't just slapping up a lead capture form. This has been highly, highly tested. We've done years of development with this, and we're not geniuses. There's nothing that separates us from something that you couldn't do in terms of improving your lead capture. But I want you to seriously consider the idea that you need at least a 10% capture rate. What I mean by 10% capture rate, that means you capture one person for every 10 or you capture one lead for every 10 visitors that visit your site, and you have their name, phone number, and email address. Now you might think, 1 in 10, that's not very much. You're right. The average real estate website is actually 1%. So 1 in 100, one lead for every 100 plus visitors. So our site, the one that you're looking at right now, has a capture rate of 30 to 40%. In fact, right now it's running about 37%, but it fluctuates depending on the day. And again, we've tested everything from the fonts to the way we ask the questions to things like bounce rate and load times on the back end. And once someone registers, they get full details, price, photos. We even serve up buyer agent commission as well on this site. But having an effective lead capture turns that attention that you're generating with all that engagement that you're putting on your site, it turns that into leads. So you may be thinking to yourself, great, I have effective lead capture now, Levi. I still don't know if it makes sense. Remember, I spent a bunch of money on Starbucks gift cards. So here's what I would tell you. First of all, a lot of your outer circle, when you offer the Starbucks, oh, no problem. I'll do the sharing and the liking for you anyways. But let's just pretend, and not even pretend. Let's go over some real results. The last time we ran this post, we generated 32 leads. This was the post. We got 30 shares, 19 comments. We got 32 leads. Now that wasn't even our best post. Our best post actually generated 99 leads. But this is sort of average normal post, 32 leads. After that post, or in the process of generating that engagement, that leads, we spent $5 gift cards times 12. Okay, so we spent $60. Again, you can get those real easily at starbucks.com/gift. They're digital downloads. No sponsor here, although Starbucks, if you want to hook a brother up, you certainly can. So we spent $60. Everything else is completely free. Facebook is free to post on. And when we did that, $60, do the math, $60 times 32 leads, we spent $1.88 per lead. Now, I would imagine, and these are all leads that are interested in this house, that have demonstrated they're interested in this house, and have some sort of social connection to you. They either know you specifically, they're your friends, or they're friends of your friends. In other words, you're effectively blanketing your sphere of influence. You cannot get better than that. Even if you spend $7 on a Starbucks gift card, you're still talking about a cost per lead of around $2.60 per lead. Again, cannot beat that. The closing rates on these types of leads are incredibly high because of the connection that they have to you. And that's how you do social media for real estate agents. You don't grind content every day and cross your fingers for results. You engineer your engagement so that every single post goes viral. Remember, if you want our private webinar on the Upcirculating Playbook, which is the best way to do social media for real estate agents, there is a link to the free training in the description below. It'll include everything you need to get started. And if this kind of content is helpful for you, we would really appreciate a like and subscribing to the channel. We do 2 videos a week, and we don't want you to miss it. See you next time.